कर दिया.
Hello everyone. Today we have Advocate Naresh Jain with us as speaker on today's topic, that is constitutional relief under Article 226 for actions under economic laws. Naresh ji has been involved in several complex and high-stake tax litigations of corporates and other SSAs and has successfully argued cases before the Honorable Supreme Court, various high courts, tribunals, and other appellate authorities. He has delivered sessions at various seminars and conferences on many forums of tax professionals. Also, we have Ms. Arati Agarwal as an advocate and CA having experience of 15 years, and Ms. Smriti Sahay, an advocate and CA having experience of 4 years as panelist. They both have experience in the field of litigation and expertise in the field of income tax and allied laws. Now, I would like to call upon CA Sumit Garg to say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you, Pooja ji, for wonderfully start. And once again, welcome to Naresh Jain sir, Advocate Naresh Jain ji, on this Team Casa platform, along with Smriti Sahay ji and CRT, all are advocates, because the topic of the today is very much important and very much relevant for all professionals. Constitutional relief under Article 226 for the actions under economic laws, income tax, Benami, SEBI, and other allied law. So we will have discussion in next 1.5 hours over this topic, and what its importance in our professional practice. So many things will be discussed by eminent expert, CA Advocate Naresh Jain ji, and I also welcome to all panelists for the deliberation. Now I request sir to take up the technical session ahead. Just a minute, sir. Your we have also
Mute.
we just a minute, sir. We have with us Dr. CA MP Bhatt, sir, who is also expert in income tax and delivered so many lectures with us. Welcome to you, Bhatt, sir. Before the starting of the technical session, I request Bhatt sir to give opening remark.
सबसे पहले तो मैं टीम कासा की तरफ से आमंत्रित सभी विद्वान और अतिथियों का मैं अभिनंदन और वंदन करूंगा कि आज शनिवार में उन्होंने अपने कीमती समय में से बहुमूल्य समय आज एक बड़ी महत्वपूर्ण सेमिनार के लिए स्पेयर किया। जैसा कि हम सभी को पता है कि टीम कासा पिछले कई सालों से हमारे प्रोफेशन की सेवा में रत है, और ये प्लेटफॉर्म न केवल एक चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट के लिए एक बड़ा बेहतर प्लेटफॉर्म है, अपितु कॉस्ट अकाउंटेंट, कंपनी सेक्रेटरीज, एडवोकेट भी इस प्लेटफॉर्म से अलग अलग रूप में जुड़े हुए हैं। जो विषय आज चुना गया है कि कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल रेमेडी अंडर आर्टिकल 226 ऑफ द इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, और वो भी इन लाइट ऑफ द इनकम टैक्स एक्ट, द बेनामी ट्रांजैक्शन एक्ट और अदर जो रेवेन्यू एक्ट हैं, उस इन एक्ट्स की कॉम्प्लिकेसीज के को मद्देनजर रखते हुए इन लाइट देयर ऑफ ये 226 जो आर्टिकल है वो किस तरीके से हम इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं, इस विषय पर जनरली हम लोगों को कोई ज़्यादा जानकारी नहीं होती एज ए चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट। लेकिन जब हम एक चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट को एक लॉयर के रूप में अपने सामने पाते हैं, तब हमें लगता है कि ये विषय हम सभी के लिए बहुत ज़्यादा महत्वपूर्ण है और जानने योग्य है। रीज़न देयर बाई कि प्राय कर क्या होता है कि हम एज ए चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट हमें कोई चीज़ें मिलती जाती है और हम उसे जवाब देने के अभ्यस्त हो जाते हैं। इस तरीके के संस्कार हमें बचपन से डाले जाते हैं। हमसे ये पूछा क्यों गया है, क्या जो पूछने वाला है वो एम्पावर्ड है कि नहीं उस सवाल को पूछने के लिए या नहीं, या उसकी कैपेसिटी क्या है, क्या उसने अपनी बियॉन्ड द कैपेसिटी जाके कोई कार्य तो नहीं किया, क्या कहीं उसने हमें एक अननेसेसरीली हरासमेंट में एक टूल ऑफ सम द प्रोविजंस ऑफ द लॉ, वो हमें कहीं हरासमेंट की तरफ तो नहीं ला रहा है किसी तरीके से। तो इन सब चीजों को जानने के लिए जब एक चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट एक एडवोकेट के रूप में मेरे सामने उपस्थित होता है, तब जो खूबसूरती उस डिस्कशन की हमें समझ में आती है, वो शायद आज हम उसका आनंद और लाभ लेंगे। मेरे बड़े विद्वान मित्र, मेरे सीनियर, मेरे ज्येष्ठ भ्राता तुल्य नरेश जैन सर यहाँ पर उपस्थित हैं। मेरा सौभाग्य कि मैं एक मैटर में उनके साथ मिला, और उन्होंने जिस खूबसूरती के साथ अगेंस्ट जो 144 कैपिटल ए में हम पेटिशन डालते हैं बिफोर द जॉइंट कमिश्नर, जहां हम कोई डायरेक्शन सीक्स करते हैं ड्यूरिंग द कोर्स ऑफ द ऑनगोइंग असेसमेंट, वहां उन्होंने रिट प्रोविजन को जिस तरीके से इस्तेमाल करना बताया और समझाया, उसके लिए मैं तो पूरे जीवन भर उनका आभार व्यक्त करूंगा, ऋणी रहूंगा। मेरे पास कोई शब्द नहीं है। मेरे और दूसरे परम विद्वान मित्र यहाँ पर मौजूद हैं। वैसे तो उम्र में वो मुझसे छोटी हैं, एडवोकेट स्मृति सहाय, लेकिन मैं तो उनको गुरु ही मानता हूँ। फ्रॉम द डे फर्स्ट मैंने उनको गुरु माना है, और जब कभी मुझे कोई ज्ञान की आवश्यकता होती है, कहीं कोई कॉम्प्लिकेशंस नजर आता है, तो मैं उनकी शरण में ही जाता हूँ और बस यही कहता हूँ कि बस मेरी रक्षा करें आप, और मुझे कहीं ना कहीं कोई ज्ञान चक्षु से खोलें। रिट अलग अलग प्रकार की होती हैं, जैसा हमें सभी लोग एडवोकेट्स यहाँ बैठे हुए हैं, मेनली 5 प्रकार होते हैं जो हमें फॉर्मूला की बचपन में पढ़ाया गया था। बस थोड़ा सा मैं 1 मिनट में उसको कंक्लूड करूंगा कि HQM और CP, ये 5 शब्द हमें एक सीक्वेंस से समझाए जाते हैं। तो H का मतलब होता है हीबस कार्पस, Q का मतलब होता है क्योबारंटो, M का मतलब होता है मैंडामस, और C का मतलब होता है सर्टियोरारी, और P का मतलब होता है प्रोहिबिशंस। तो इन जो 5 प्रकार की जो रिट होती हैं अंडर आर्टिकल 32 और द 226, अंडर आर्टिकल 32 में जो रिट हम प्रेफर करते हैं वो बिफोर एन एपेक्स कोर्ट हम जाते हैं किसी भी इनजस्टिस के अगेंस्ट, और जो 226 आर्टिकल में हम रिट का जो इस्तेमाल करते हैं वो बिफोर द ऑनरेबल हाई कोर्ट करते हैं, जो भी जुरिडिक्शनल हाई कोर्ट है। और ज्यादा क्या इस विषय में मैं बोल सकता हूं, मैं तो वैसे ही अज्ञान रूपी अंधकार से ग्रसित हूं। मेरे बीच में विद्वान मित्र इस समय विराजमान है, मैं उन्हीं से निवेदन करूंगा और प्रार्थना करूंगा कि हम सभी के ज्ञान चक्षुओं को वो आज अपने ज्ञान के द्वारा खोलें। इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ मैं आभार व्यक्त करूंगा, और पुनः जो संचालन का दायित्व सुमित जी को। धन्यवाद।
थैंक यू भट्ट साहब, आपने कम शब्दों में इतने अच्छे इस टॉपिक की, एक सब्जेक्ट की इम्पोर्टेंस को बताया। अब हम इस टॉपिक को डिटेल में स्टडी करेंगे। ओवर टू यू नरेश सर।
Yes, thanks Pooja for kind introduction. Thanks Sumit ji for giving this opportunity to us to represent our view before the audience. And Bhatt Sahab, you are a very humble person. we need to learn from you this attribute. I was touched by your humbleness. Thank you very much. Now I start the topic. Now the topic is constitutional relief under Article 226. And I will agree with Bhatt Sahab. For 10 years, I practiced as chartered accountant from year 2003 to 2013. And in 10 years, though I argued in tribunal, I did not file a single writ petition under Article 226. Not a single article. Not only that, I attended a lot of seminars. I never heard on this topic in CA seminar. Never. But after I became an advocate, I became advocate because of compulsion, because my cases were going to high courts. And I found lawyers are very busy. They are unable to attend my cases properly. So I thought I would become lawyer. And I joined advocacy in year 2010, completed in 2014. And as soon as I completed, am I okay? Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes sir, yes sir, yes sir, perfect.
Audible.
Yes, some disturbance is there, no problem. So what I was saying, as soon as I become advocate, I surrendered my CSUOP. In 10 years of CA practice, with the same set of client more or less, I never preferred a writ jurisdiction of High Court. And in last 7 years, I have represented more than 200 writ petitions for the same set of client and got the relief. So I thought, why not share this article 226 with CA Circle? Because in 10 years of practice as a CA, I now realize I could have availed so many times this article to the relief of my client, but I never used it because I was not fully aware what can be done in this article. Because I was not aware, I did not advise my clients also. So let me start the topic. The topic is constitutional relief under Article 226 in income tax law, if we start with. Direct question can be raised. Why should we need constitutional relief? Income Tax Act gives enough relief. What happens in income tax? Assessing officer passes assessment order, reassessment order. And if we are prejudiced, there is relief remedy in Income Tax Act itself. There is a relief remedy in Income Tax Act itself by way of CIT appeal, first appeal, tribunal, High Court and Supreme Court. There is relief in revision under Section 264. What for constitutional relief? Yeah, that is a pertinent question. I would like to answer it this way. Yes, there are relief against assessment order, CIT appeal order, tribunal order by higher appeals. But there are so many actions with wide-ranging ramifications. There is no appeal to those actions of tax department in income tax law. There is no appeal. I take, for example, reopening under Section 147. We start with that. Reopening under Section 147, the provisions are that if assessing officer has reason to believe that income has escaped assessment, then he can reopen the assessment of the SSC, completed assessment of the SSC within given time limit. Now, say take a practical example. Assessment year 14-15. A company filed return of income in time and it disclosed in the return of income 5 crore rupees of capital gains, 3.5 crore long-term capital gain, 1.5 crore short-term capital gain. Claimed exemption under Section 1038 so far as long-term capital gain is concerned, and claimed concessional tax rate so far as short-term capital gain is concerned. He filed the return with full details. His case was selected for scrutiny. Assessing officer was asked for the details for long-term capital gain and short-term capital gain, asked for memorandum and article of association of the company. All were submitted on requisition by assessing officer in scrutiny proceeding. One more thing is markable. The main object of the company was trading in share. That was memorandum was filed with assessing officer along with the details of long-term capital gain and short-term capital gain. Assessment was completed and assessing officer accepted the claim of SSC, allowed long-term capital gain exemption under 1038, applied concessional tax rate on short-term capital gain. Assessment over. Generally, after when assessments are over and high exemptions or deductions are claimed, the file is taken for audit. An audit, internal audit department of tax department informed the assessing officer what you have done. See memorandum, main object is trading in share. Transactions are so voluminous. This is business. Should be taxed at full rate of tax. Why exemption? Why concessional rate of tax? Income has escaped taxation. That is, auditor informs to whom? Assessing officer, audit party. And as soon as the officer gets it, he gets worried. Officer gets worried. And what he does? In year 2017, after completion of assessment, 2 years after completion of assessment, he issues notice under Section 147 to SSC company. Well, your case is reopened. SSC company meets chartered accountant. Chartered accountant seeks reason why case is reopened. Assessing officer supply the reason. Assessing officer says your main object is, as per memorandum, is trading in share. Your transaction is voluminous. You claimed exemption. It should be taxed under business head. Income escaped assessment. So your case is reopened. Then SSC company consult chartered accountant. This is was concluded. This is revived. What do we do? CA says that we will file objection before assessing officer that this reopening is bad. CA also explains that there is a Supreme Court decision in Calvinator of India Limited. Supreme Court judgment. What does that Supreme Court says? Supreme Court says that reopening by assessing officer cannot be done on the basis of change of opinion. If assessing officer has applied his mind in original assessment proceeding, no fresh facts or fresh law is there in place. On the same facts and on the same law which was in record, if assessing officer wants to reopen, this is nothing but change of opinion. Assessing officer cannot invoke 147 on change of opinion, that is Calvinator of India Supreme Court. Chartered accountant informs the client. Client say file objection. And objection is filed by chartered accountant. And what happens after that? Assessing officer dismisses the objection as usual. In 100 objection, hundreds are dismissed. I have seen so. In 1,999 are dismissed. Only in one case they may withdraw the reopening. So it's a routine. They dismiss, and it was dismissed. After it was dismissed, again there is a meeting between CA and the client. Client says, "What do we do now? Is this dismissal appealable under Income Tax Act? Can we go to Commissioner Appeal to challenge this dismissal? Dismissal of reopening, of objection to reopening." CA says, no. You cannot go in appeal. Let reassessment order is passed. Then against reassessment, you can go in appeal. There you can raise this ground that reopening is bad and with other grounds. Then client says, Baba, then there would be a tax demand. And we don't know whether he will be confined to only this issue. He may rake up other concluded issue also. This is wrong. If it is wrong, as per Supreme Court, why are we so helpless? There is no remedy under Income Tax Act. Where do we go? Then CA may advise that you have a remedy. You have one more remedy, that is extra legal, remedy not provided by Income Tax Act, that is constitutional remedy. What is that remedy? That is contained in Article 226 of the Constitution, popularly known as writ jurisdiction of High Court. Article 226 of the Constitution, CA would say that we have only now one way left. If we want to stop this assessing officer who is powerful person in the sense for reopening, he is ultimate. There is no appeal in the Act. Only he has to believe himself that income escaped assessment. His decision is final. No appeal in Income Tax Act. If we want to stop him, we have only one remedy now, that is Article 226. So what is this Article 226? Let's see on the screen. Arti, please screen show Article 226 subs Article 1 of the Constitution. Arti, can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But Arti, can you screen show Article 226? Okay, Arti, there may be not network problem. Let me explain Article 226 of the Constitution of India. Article 226 of the Constitution of India provides that if any person in India, citizen, resident, his fundamental rights or his legal rights are violated by any person, any government, then he can straightway come to High Court under Article 226 to seek remedy, instant and ready-made, instant remedy. He can straightway go to High Court if his fundamental rights all legal rights are violated. That is Article 226. This is the sum and substance of Article 226. And High Court can pass orders in form of 5 writs, as Bhatt Saab just explained. We will come to later to that. But High Court would find a way to redress it. So the chartered accountant advised the client that there is no remedy under Income Tax Act. If you are severely aggrieved, you can go to High Court under Article 226. And a writ petition is to be filed before Honorable High Court. There is a standard form of draft. And writ petition is filed where all these facts, that this is the reason to believe, this is our objection, this is disposal of our objection, and assessing officer is not following Supreme Court order. That is your complaint before High Court. That assessing officer is not bothering to a well-settled legal position set by Supreme Court. Where do we go? We have come to you. Give us relief. Quash the reassessment. Don't relegate us to unnecessary harassment. And Supreme Court would ask Revenue Council that if from the same set of facts, earlier your assessing officer treated it as capital gains on the same set of facts, how come on the set of facts, how come the same assessing officer can reopen the assessment? This is change of opinion. Have you got anything extra than what you had at the time of original assessment? Revenue says no. There was a mistake or whatever Revenue may argue. But then Supreme Court judgment is there that you cannot invoke reopening on change of opinion. The High Court would say that Baba, your officer may not be bound by Supreme Court. We are bound by Supreme Court. We have no option but to quash. So the reassessment proceeding would be quashed. That is the relief, constitutional relief. So at this point of time, any question? Because I explained one aspect. Any question, Smriti?
Sir, at this point of time, a question must come in viewer's point, and it is also coming in my mind that supposing that in this case, scrutiny would not have taken place and the order under 143(3) has not been passed, and it was a normal intimation under 143
1.
Yeah. So, sir, in that case, also we can take the plea of change of opinion
Yes.
when
So
there is only
question
a
is question is instead of original assessment being done in scrutiny, if the return is processed under 143(1)(a) and thereafter after 4 or 5 years it gets reopened, can we take a plea that this is a change of opinion? This is the question. The answer is that in 143(1)(a), assessing officer does not make any opinion on any issue. It does not make any opinion on any issue. So pleading that there is a change of opinion, if you plead it, High Court would say, actually Supreme Court has already said in the case of Rajesh Javeri, same issue was taken till Supreme Court. After relying on Calvinator on 143(1)(a) intimation, he said this is change of opinion. Everything there was in record with returned. From the same record you are reopening. But Supreme Court held that in 143(1)(a), no opinion is ever framed by assessing officer. So in 143(1)(a), you cannot take recourse to plea of change of opinion. So 143(1)(a), assessing officer can reopen and you cannot hold him back. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes. I also have a question, sir. We have seen that various times during scrutiny proceedings, assessing officer issue notice and ask for various details, like in this case, long term. capital gain, and we have submitted everything, contract notes, everything, etc. AO is satisfied. He does not write anything in the assessment order regarding that and allows our claim. But later on the same issue, he decides to reopen the case. Can we challenge the reopening on the ground of change of opinion in this kind of case?
Yeah, your question is that long-term capital gain, he wanted details. I submitted details. Memorandum was also submitted. But he does not mention anything with respect to long-term capital gain in the body of assessment order.
Yes.
So he may plead that no opinion is formed because I have not
Right.
written anything in assessment order. Yeah, this revenue argues this because assessment order they only records the issue of disallowance where they disagree with SSC. Wherever they agree with the SSC, they are silent. And when because they are silent, it does not mean that they have not formed the opinion, they have not applied their mind. Supreme Court in Calcutta Discount Company has held that you keep silent on written query, it amounts to your agreement. It amounts to your opinion. Same is in Delhi High Court, USA International. They say that let assessing officer not mention anything in the order, but if you raise the query and SSC has supplied the information, we will presume that he has accepted SSC contention if it does not mention anything in assessment order. So not mentioning in assessment order would not help revenue. Yeah, if assessing officer has not made a written request on a particular information or particular data, and SSC has put those data in the randomly. For example, with tax audit, the depreciation schedule is also enclosed. And assessing officer did not see it, did not raise any question. And if there is a mistake of high claim of depreciation, and he did not raise any query, and I did not respond also, then assessing officer will have a stand that the document were so voluminous and I could see whatever I could see as a sample scrutiny, rest I did not see. So I did not form any opinion on those things. So there he can say that there is no opinion. What is the question of change of opinion? If there is a mistake of higher depreciation claim, according to him, he can reopen. So to conclude, if there is a specific query by assessing officer and I respond, he is silent, still it will be deemed that he has formed the opinion. But if there is no specific query and randomly details are put, then the court would say there is no opinion framed by assessing officer. When he scrutinizes, he makes a sample scrutiny, and in that sample, he did not see it and he did not form the opinion. So their reopening is permissible. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So next, any other question? Then any question from audience if there is any mechanism, then I can entertain that also. Questions can be raised if there is a mechanism. So
Sir, no other question right now. We can receive the questions from the
if you
participant and
receive
we'll.
the question, yeah, then you can share it with us.
Sure.
Next, take one more instance. I would like to tell and share that I have been in courts in writ jurisdiction, and I have seen one third. Large many writ petitions are filed on reopening, and one third of petition is on change of opinion. One third. That is my rough calculation. So this concept of change of opinion should be very well known. And if change of opinion is the basis of reopening, the CA must know that they have right to go in writ. That is number one. Number two, another 33% of writ against reopening is on another issue. I will share that also. Look, in 147, there is a proviso. There is a proviso under section 147. And if Aarti can screen share it, then it would be easier for me. Otherwise, I'll explain it without. Is it possible? Screen sharing
Yes, I'm
article.
trying. I'm trying.
Okay. Yes, yes. This is the proviso. Another 1/3 of cases of writ under section 147, large many number is on this. Let me explain what is the proviso. Proviso says that if original assessment is completed under scrutiny and there is no failure on the part of SSC to disclose truly and fully, then time of reopening should be further restricted down to 4 years instead of 6 years. 4 years instead of 6 years. That is sum and substance of first provision 247. So it restricts time limit from 6 to 4 years if original assessment is scrutiny and SSC has made full and true disclosure at the time of scrutiny. Then you cannot go beyond 4 years. It's fine, Arti. You can remove this. Now, let me take another illustration of reopening to clarify this provision and how writ court entertains. Another illustration I give, say it is a case of a builder. It is a case of a builder in Bombay. And assessment year is assessment year 13-14. And builder has undertaken a residential housing project. The project comprises of large flats as well as small flats. 50% of the area or 50% of the flats are small flats, below 1000 square feet. And remaining are above 1000 square feet. As per 80 IB 10, only flats below 1000 square feet are eligible for deduction. That is the provision. It is for encouraging small flats. Below 1000, if you have constructed, that is the requirement of 80 IB 10, then your project is eligible for 80 IB 10. Now this builder did what? He said 50% of my flats are eligible, 50 are not eligible. So he made total profit of say 10 crore in the project in assessment year 13-14. He claims deduction of 50%, 5 crores, proportionate deduction under section 80 IB subsection 10, proportionate. 50% he claims. Assessing officer inquires what happened. Why some of your flats are more than 1000 square feet as per 80 IB 10. How have you claimed it? All your flats should be below 1000 square feet. The SSC responded by a Bombay tribunal. Bombay tribunal is there. Bombay tribunal saying that in such situation where flats are of both kinds, below 1000 square feet, more than 1000 square feet, in such situation, proportionate deduction should be allowed to SSC. It's a beneficial provision. 80 IB 10 should be construed liberally. On that logic, tribunal has given 80 IB 10 even for proportionate as a proportionate deduction. And assessing officer, convinced by tribunal order, allowed the deduction. Fully aware, allowed the deduction. Then something happened after 4 years. That is in 2018 October. Bombay High Court gave another ruling, reversing tribunal judgment. Bombay High Court said, see, this is hypothetical. It is not actually happened, but matter is lying with Bombay High Court. It's pending. Suppose Bombay High Court reversed this tribunal order saying that for claiming 80 IB 10 deduction, all your flats should have been below 1000 square feet. You are disentitled because 50% of your flats are more than 1000 square feet. Bombay High Court reverses tribunal, disallow that to that SSC, not to me, to that SSC deduction under section 80 IB 10 completely. Now this decision is published and everybody comes to know of it, and my officer who allowed me in assessment year 13-14 based on tribunal decision also comes to know of it, and he has kept a track. He issues a reopening notice under section 147 saying that your income has escaped assessment because of Bombay High Court. That is the reason he provides. Now the same SSC again discusses with chartered accountant saying, is this not a change of opinion on the same facts? Everything is same. He allowed it earlier, and after 4 years on the same facts, he is disallowing it. Is it not a change of opinion? Can we challenge it in writ jurisdiction? He asked chartered accountant. Chartered accountant responds, well, no, this is not a case of change of opinion. He asked why? Why this is not a case of change of opinion? Opinion has actually changed. No, this is not a case of change of opinion. The Calvinator of India says if the legal and factual position remains the same, an assessing officer then reopens, it is a change of position, opinion. In present case, legal position has changed. After the assessment is completed, Bombay High Court has changed the legal position. And the original assessment order has become erroneous. There is no question of opinion. That opinion is no opinion. That is a wrong opinion. An assessing officer was perfectly right at that time by following tribunal judgment. But now he is also perfectly right in reopening the assessment because legal position has changed. Factual position is same, but legal position is same. Then he asked, what do we do? Now tax, interest, and so many things. I have thought that this is done, this is over. 5 years down the line, I was not apprehending. I have no money now to pay tax. Position is deteriorated. A lot of things he said to chartered accountant. Then chartered accountant says, yes, still there is a writ jurisdiction because of this proviso. This proviso I just said. Because this proviso still covers me. How? There is original assessment under scrutiny, 143.3. There is no failure on the part of SSE to disclose truly and fully the material facts. He fully disclosed 50% below 1,000, 50% above 1,000. There is no suppression of facts. So if there is full and true disclosure, and original assessment under scrutiny, then time limit for reopening is 4 years only. Even if I have been under assessed, but if 4 years have passed in these conditions, then you forget it. And if this is argued in the court, and it is shown, even AO will accept nothing material fact was concealed, everything was disclosed, then High Court would say, Baba, you are acting without jurisdiction. You know how? Well, your time is gone. There is a reason to believe that income escaped assessment. No doubt, there is no change of opinion. But there is one more aspect, time. 4 years has gone. And once that time period is gone, you have no jurisdiction to take action against SSC. So then on this ground, this reopening would be quashed. On this ground, this reopening would be quashed. You are not allowing assessing officer to proceed further, to further examine all other claims, to raise the demand, and you are not allowing, because CIT appeal tribunal takes time to give you relief. Here there is instant remedy. You go in writ petition, you show that your case is covered by proviso, they will give stay till they allow. Assessment has to stop, they will give stay. Otherwise it will be useless to pursue, whereas High Court see that case is covered by proviso, they will give stay in writ jurisdiction. They have power, they will give stay. And if it is covered by proviso, in spite of income being capped, it would be struck down. As if, for example, after 6 years, if he wants to reopen, that is time barred. Same way in this situation, after 4 years, assessing officer wants to reopen, it is time barred as per provision. Only thing, assessing officer does not understand all these things. Does not want to understand all these things. Let me correct. That is my experience. And they will even reject your objection. They will pass the assessment order disallowing everything. They will not say that everything was truly and fully disclosed in original. They will just go ahead and you will be thrown to CIT appeal, then tribunal, High Court, and so on. Who will go that? Calcutta Discount Company Supreme Court in 1961 said that writ court should entertain these kind of cases. Otherwise, SSC would be unnecessarily thrown into harassment. What is the point? Time of department will also go. Time of SSC will get puzzled. The psychological government action is well psychological effect. So entertain it. High Court should not fail in its duty because that is the duty in Article 226. That if any legal wrong is done to an SSC, it's a legal wrong done to him. Article 226 is there in the Constitution. You do your constitutional duty. You don't fail him. That is Calcutta Discount Company Limited. Arti, you can show it if you want. Screen share. Calcutta Discount Company Limited. 1961, as long
Yes,
back that
I'll
time.
do.
Okay. If not possible, then I proceed. Yes, possible.
I can see I have shared this PPT.
Yeah, I got it. I got it. Look, this is 1961 judgment, very near independence time. In this case, the Honorable Supreme Court has held that where action of an executive authority, here tax authority, it was income tax case, acting without jurisdiction, time bar without jurisdiction, subject to or is likely to subject a person to lengthy proceeding and unnecessary harassment, the High Court will issue appropriate orders or direction to prevent such consequences. It's a landmark judgment, Calcutta Discount, constitutional bench, followed till date. That's why reopening, if you want to challenge, court cannot say that you go complete your assessment, then you have appeal remedy. Why have you come to us? It's premature. Court can't say so. High Court cannot say so. It's Calcutta Discount Company constitutional bench decision of Supreme Court. For constitutional means 5-judge bench. They have said that if a person is acting without jurisdiction, an officer is acting without jurisdiction, then give immediate remedy. Don't let him go through the harassment. So this is a landmark judgment. So here, because everything was fully and truly disclosed, and original assessment was under scrutiny, so there is safeguard in reopening. That is why scrutiny assessments are preferred because of change of opinion also, and because of this provision also. It's not bad to get your assessment scrutinized if you have high stake returns. Small returns, nobody bothers these days. Yeah, any question on this? Any question on
Yes,
this?
yes, sir. One question is there by
Yes,
Uma Pandeji. I am sharing on a screen.
yes.
Can you please explain the term HCMPQ under Article 226 in detail to define the nature of the item covered to each
I
terminology?
will do that. I will do that. I will do that.
Hmm.
And for this, for the time being, I explain only C and P. C and
Okay.
P. C and P I explain. If you see Article 226 once again, Article 226 once again, Artik, if you can screen show, what is C
Yes.
and what is P? Because right now we are dealing with C and P. Yeah,
Okay.
Artik screen show. Yeah, this is Article 226. Here, what article says, I read it for everyone. Notwithstanding anything in Article 32, every High Court shall have power throughout the territories in relation to which it exercises jurisdiction to issue to any person or authority, including in appropriate cases, any government within those territories, direction, orders, or writs, including writs in the nature of habeas corpus, that is H, mandamus, that is M, prohibition, that is P, Q warranty, that is Q, and certiorari, that is C. Now, certiorari is the most common in these cases. Certiorari is what? Certiorari, you can in simple term understand, and prohibition also. that if an authority under the jurisdiction of High Court, under the territory of state, is acting without jurisdiction, he has no jurisdiction, but still is acting, that officer has no jurisdiction, still if he is acting, then High Court would issue a writ of certiorari stopping him. Don't proceed. You quash that under certiorari. It is jurisdiction, beyond jurisdiction, somebody is moving, then writ of certiorari will quash that action. For example, here 147, the jurisdiction is time, because of time bar, there is no jurisdiction, so writ of certiorari. Because in earlier example, because of change of opinion, there is no jurisdiction, because it does not constitute reason to believe. Assessing officer has to have reason to believe to reopen, but he has no reason to believe. Still, if he is acting without jurisdiction. So in these cases, in 147, writ of certiorari is filed, and prohibition is stopping the authority. Again, you can take it as similar writ. One for certiorari and prohibition. There is slight difference, not much of significance right now for this discussion, but through these writs, High Court stops authorities to proceed against citizen or resident if it can be shown to High Court that these people have no jurisdiction to move against you. These are powerful authorities. You are helpless. They can exercise jurisdiction even without authority of law. You cannot stop them, but High Court can stop them. That is writ of certiorari. So these two writ I explain. Other I will come later when I take those examples. Yeah. Arti, any other question?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, please.
हाँ, yes, sir. सर, जैसे अभी आपने ये जो केस बताया सेकंड हमें बॉम्बे वाला ATIB 10 डिडक्शन ऊपर. So, sir, in this case also, the assessee, the concerned assessee must have filed a objection before the assessing officer.
Yes.
And so, sir, ये जो आपने in both the cases, as you said that you can ask for the reason to believe, and the assessee can file the objection, and the AO is bound to dispose of that objection. So, sir, this procedure, since it is not finding its place in income tax, so what is the basis of this procedure, sir?
Yes, this is a question which we must be aware of. The question is that section 147 only says if assessing officer has reason to believe, under 148 he will issue notice. Now, asking for the reason, supply of the reason, then filing the objection, then disposal of objection, you don't find that in Income Tax Act. You don't find that. That is not there in income. This procedure is not prescribed in 147 and 140. You people can check. There is no such prescription of procedure under section 147 and 148. So Smriti asked how this process has been followed without the provision being there in the law. That is the question. The answer is given by Supreme Court. This procedure is supplied by Supreme Court, not by Parliament. Because Supreme Court found that large many cases are getting reopened and notices are issued. SSC keeps on going after assessing why you have reopened. Large many cases, because there are 3 crore SSC, large many cases are reopened and there is no procedure. SSC has to run after AO, then he objects, AO does not respond, then he completes the assessment. There is no procedure in the Act. So Supreme Court also is a law in itself. Whatever is decided by Supreme Court becomes the law. Supreme Court, for convenience, has set out a procedure in GK and Driveshaft India Limited. What does Supreme Court says? That Honorable Supreme Court prescribed the procedure of reassessment, which are as follows. When a notice is issued, the proper course of action for noticee is to file a return, and if he so desires, to seek reasons for issuing notice. assessee will have to desire. He will have to write, I want to know the reason. There are large many number of cases when assessee does not seek reasons also. Large many cases. It's just start complying reassessment. So reasons are to be asked. The assessing officer is bound to furnish reasons within reasonable time. On receipt of the reasons, the noticee is entitled to file objections. That is the objection I was talking about. Change of opinion, time bar, everything. The assessing officer is bound to dispose of the same by passing a speaking order. So this order is to be passed by assessing officer because Supreme Court says so. The question of its appeal does not lie because 246A CIT appeal does not contemplate this kind of order. There is no appeal against this order. This is court given procedure. This is a legislation by court, you can say. Because Parliament passed a law, there are some lacuna, there is some shortcomings in the law. Supreme Court filled it up by this Supreme Court. It is important to note here that I have come across so many cases. Reasons are asked, objection is filed. Assessing officer does not dispose of objection and he proceeds for reassessment and completes reassessment. This is in violation of the Supreme Court judgment. If assessing officer has not disposed of objection by speaking order, then many high courts have held that it is violation of GKN, and on that ground itself, the entire assessment order is quashed. That ground itself, assessment orders are quashed. But we should be aware that this is our right. Assessing officer has to give speaking order, and if he does not give, his order may become void because it is in contradiction to Supreme Court directives. And you will find number of judgments in Bombay High Court and other where just because objection was not disposed and he started reassessment proceeding and order also that were caused. But you need to praise this point. You need to, and you can praise this point only if you know it. Then we are in knowledge industry. We should know it. What are our powers? What are our rights? We should be aware of them. Then only we can apply them. That is what I want to say. And I just tell you one very landmark judgment and very important judgment recently based on this Supreme Court judgment. Just pay attention to what I say. It's a case of NDTV India Limited. NDTV India Limited in one assessment year 9-10 raised through subsidiary in UK 600-700 crore rupees of money by issue of some step-up bond. 700. Thereafter, year after year, they were doing in other in Netherlands or Mauritius. So in year one, what happened? That assessing officer entire details were filed of subscribers of step-up bonds. An assessing officer accepted it as genuine, made adjustment on other accounts, transfer pricing adjustment, that is not relevant. Thereafter, this assessment was closed. After 4 years of end of assessment year, assessing officer, because of subsequent years, sometimes it's having in Netherlands, sometimes in Mauritius, every year my funds are coming to subsidiary, got suspicious. And he has reason to believe that year one, when 600 crore was subscribed in UK step-up bond, that's bogus. He had a reason to believe. He reopened after end of assessment year, 4 years of the end of assessment year. Then writ petition was filed in Delhi High Court. Delhi High Court did not entertain. Matter went to Supreme Court. In Supreme Court, they argued this that my original assessment was under scrutiny, and all the details were filed. There is no direct evidence for that year that subscribers are bogus. So because of proviso, if you reopen after end of 4 of assessment, it's time barred. That Supreme Court agreed. Yes, it is time barred. So this would be quashed. Then department said, no. We raise a fresh plea. What is that? Well, for this case, the time of reopening is 16 years because it's a foreign asset matter. 16 years. So 4, 6, forget. We have 16 years. If you see second proviso to section 147, you will find if foreign assets are involved, then time for reopening to department is 16 years, the new section. Earlier it was not there. Then they raised this ground. In Supreme Court, they argued this, that look, we are within time, we have time for 16 years. Supreme Court asked, have you mentioned this in your reason to believe? At the time when you issued the reason to believe to SSC, you were looking for 6 years only. You might have that in mind, or you, while disposing the objection, you might have said 16 years. But what in reason to believe? If in reason to believe this is not there, you are not following GCAN. You can't bank on it now because the other party has not been given this opportunity to rebut why not 16 years. So on this ground, that it was not there in reason to believe, this 16 years invocation, Supreme Court had quashed reopening NDTV, but they gave them freedom. You can issue a fresh notice because 16 years are there. But at least that proceeding of reopening was quashed only because it was not mentioned in reason to believe, and court examines reopening on the contents of reason to believe, not on subsequent developments. They see whether reopening was proper or not. At the time, what reasons is recorded is subject matter of scrutiny in High Court. Not subsequently you say, why we have got this much, that extra material, that's not relevant. At the time of reopening, reason to. So this procedure of GKN is creating havoc to departments because tax officer makes some or other mistakes. And SSC keeps silent if he is aware of GKN. In appellate proceeding, he argues this. You have a GKN not followed, quash it, quash assessment order. That kind of arguments are being taken. Who the people who are aware of GKN, right, sir? Yeah. Any other question?
Yes, sir. I have a question. In this case, as you said, the reopening was done because of a subsequent decision. But nowadays we see a reopening also happens when there is some investigation being report is there, or maybe a search is taken in some other party who has admitted that okay, he has provided some entry. And on that information, my case is reopened. Though I have disclosed every details, the entries are appearing in my books. So there is no failure as far as I am concerned. I have disclosed everything. Still, my case gets reopened. So whether still after 4 years,
Yes.
this plea will be valid in my case or not?
Yes. Yeah. Your question is that original scrutiny assessment, loan confirmation, bank statement of lender, ITR, everything is given by SSC in original
Yes.
assessment. Later on, the lender confesses in a search proceeding against him that lender says that I am accommodation entry provider and I provided accommodation entry. Suppose lender says so. Then 4 years have gone. 6 years is running. 6th year is running from end of assessment year. And assessing officer reopens. And SSC argues I have made full and true disclosure. Correct? So my reopening time should be restricted to only 4 years because of proviso. But this will not sustain, I tell you why. This will not sustain because there is no full and true disclosure. The lender himself has agreed that he is accommodation entry provider. At least reason to believe that there is no true and full disclosure is there. He will further investigate. That is a different thing. But reopening would be done within 6 years because department has material. Department has material to show that your original disclosure was not full and true. You have not disclosed to the department that this is accommodation entry. If you have disclosed at that time that it is an accommodation entry, if an assessing officer still would have not added it under section 68, it would have been a different thing. but you have concealed this information. So in this case, proviso is not going to help you, Arti,
Okay.
because there is no
Because
full and true disclosure. Supreme Court,
okay, because we
Pannalal
don't
case.
accept it. Yes.
Yes, sorry, Arti, because
No,
we
even if we don't accept it as a bogus entry, but still the reopening will be valid. That can be fought on later. But as far as reason to believe is concerned, that will sustain. That is what you are saying.
that is because there is now reason to believe that there is no full and true disclosure in earlier assessment proceeding. You can take it that way. Supreme Court has already decided this in Bajrang Lal some case, where they said that subsequent confession by accommodation entry provider 6 years can be applied, because original there is material that originally there was no full and true disclosure. Yeah. Any other question or we proceed?
We can proceed.
Okay, then I proceed. Yes, I proceed then. Is there any question, Sumit?
Uh,
No.
no, sir, we can proceed,
Yes.
sir. We
Yes.
can proceed, sir.
So my next what I wanted to convey through these two examples is that this is a myth that there is adequate remedy under income tax act. There are so many actions with disastrous consequences on SSC, and there is no relief in income tax act, and you have to go to writ court if you want to get instant and ready relief. Another instance is search and seizure. Under section 132, income tax authority has been given power to conduct search and seizure, but there is also a requisition. They should have reason to believe that the person that they are searching has concealed wealth, concealed income. If the department has reason to believe that the person they want to conduct search upon has concealed wealth or concealed income, or maybe concealed books, then they can conduct search under section 132. They should have reason to believe. But suppose they have conducted a search and their reason to believe is inappropriate, like in 147. There is no appeal under Income Tax Act. There is appeal against search assessment under section 153A. Once that search assessment is concluded, 6 years would get reopened, now 10 years, and then you have appeal. But even in appeal, income tax appeal, commissioner appeal tribunal, you cannot challenge the search because there is a provision that reason for search would not be divulged to appellate authority under income tax, CIT appeal or tribunal. So search if conducted by authority, so far as income tax act is concerned, it's final. It's not questionable. So far as income tax act is concerned, it is not appealable. It is not questionable. But they are malified searches. They are wrong searches. They are searches on political vengeance. They are searches because inspired by business rivalries. They are searches when search should not have happened. Then where do one go? Where does one go? Because Income Tax Act is remediless. The power is there, but the power to search is conditional. That there should be reason to believe. The power to search is conditional, but condition to be satisfied to the satisfaction of one who conducts the search. If he is satisfied, it's final. Power is absolute. The person who authorizes or conducts the search, only he has to decide whether there is reason to believe or not. And whatever he is decided is final as so far as income tax law is concerned. There is no appeal against his reason to believe. So power is absolute under Income Tax Act, so far as conducting of search is concerned, to, of course, senior ranking officers. That safeguard is there. But to those senior ranking officers, this power is absolute. And suppose they make a misuse or they make a mistake, misuse or mistake, both can happen. Then what are the consequences? Your privacy is invaded wrongly. It's a serious invasion to privacy, wrongly. And if you don't challenge this search, you cannot challenge under Income Tax Act. Then 6 years, now 10 years will get reopened. And the persons whose name is found in the search, their 6 or 10 years also under 153C can be reopened. What are severe consequences of a wrong search? Ramifications are huge, but there is no remedy in Income Tax Act. Because Parliament believes that when an income tax officer conducts a search, he is always right. There is no need to appeal. That's why there is no appeal. Parliament feels assessment order passes, there may be mistake, appeal is there. But for conducting a search, for reopening, Parliament feels no. We are okay if the person conducting the search is satisfied. But SSC is not okay. Because SSC feels that this is a wrong search. We'll give one example. I must say, against search also we have a remedy under Article 226 because power under Article 226 are quite wide to cover any action which violates legal rights or fundamental rights of citizen or resident. So searches are getting challenged in High Court, income tax searches. I give one example. A company engaged in jewelry business in Bombay boarded a plane with 5 crore of jewelry in hand baggage. Person boarded a plane, employee of that company boarded a plane with 5 crore rupees of jewelry in hand baggage. It landed at Delhi. In Bombay airport, security people saw it and they informed income tax department. In Delhi, this passenger, before he could come out of the plane, was welcomed by income tax officers, authorized officers. They came to his seat, escorted him out of plane with baggage. So authorization 132 that we are searching you. They searched baggage. They found jewelry of 5 crore. They asked question and they are not satisfied. They are never satisfied. They seized the jewelry. And this person was traveling to Delhi to attend an exhibition. It's a real life case. Attend an exhibition. Now he was exhibited with something else. Now he is facing tax team. They have kept the jewelry. Stock in trade cannot be seized. Still seized. Because who would prove this is stock in trade at that point of time? Then this person's jewelry was taken away. This person came back Bombay and asked chartered accountant, this has happened. What do we do? So CA says, let's communicate with investigation wing, show them bill, source, everything of jewelry, and let us get the jewelry released. But department says no. Once seized, after such assessment is completed, we'll see whether we have to refund jewelry or return jewelry or not. Because we have to see what is tax demand coming in now. Your 6 years would get reopened. You get it assessed thereafter. And then this person says, what is this? My 5 crore jewelry, which is legitimate, is with them. I have creditors who are running after me. They can move insolvency proceeding because this 5 crores sale would have made them pay. I will get destroyed. And my 6 years are getting reopened. For what? For no reason. Then the writ petition was filed in Bombay High Court. The case name is Diamond Star. Writ petition was filed in the Bombay High Court. And reasons to believe was produced in Bombay High Court. It's a confidential in such and CJ. It was produced before Bombay High Court. And the reason was mentioning what? That this person was carrying 5 crore of jewelry. And we have a reason to believe that this is concealed jewelry. Then High Court, it was argued. Just mere carrying jewelry of 5 crore, how can a reasonable person come to a belief that this is concealed? You go to showroom, there is 30 crore rupees of jewelry. You will feel this is concealed. What extra you had? Well, nothing. Then High Court said you may have reason to suspect, but here in 132 you are required to have reason to believe. Just mere possession of jewelry. How could you come to believe? This is high-handedness. This is reckless use of power. This is trigger-happy policeman kind of action. That you have power and you are showing your power that I can seize you, I can harass you. What is this? And Bombay High Court quashed this search, saying that mere possession of jewelry is not a reason to believe that this is concealed. This is unimaginable. And then SSC said, my fundamental right to do business is also violated. I am harassed. I am in Bombay High Court given compensation also. First, jewelry was instantly released. Second, search assessment will not take place now. Third, compensation was granted. And this is Diamond Star Bombay High Court case. Still, every airport, jewelers know that there is a threat and danger when they travel with jewelry, what will happen. And it keeps on happening. Searches are done at airport. It keeps on happening in spite of compensation. And number of such searches are declared illegal. In Delhi High Court also recently, I saw there is a Khemchand Mukim, identical, more or less identical. Search was cancelled by Bombay High Court. Khemchand Mukim judgment in Delhi High Court. So this is action with wide ramification. It can upset you totally. It can make you bankrupt, and there is no appeal in income tax. Parliament believes that this senior officer can do no wrong when they authorize a search. There is no review. Once even a wrong search admittedly by department is done, still they are bound by 153 ABC. They will have to do it. But the SSC and the material seized, they cannot be released even if wrong. Till such assessment is come. And people may go bankrupt. If in such situation is a small jeweler, 5 crore as stock is seized, but creditors 4 crores are there, and they will take them to insolvency court. It's a private limited company. It can destroy the business. It should be carefully used. It's not so casually, but getting used, and High Court is fed up. Day after day, writ petitions are coming on some or other actions. Nobody is learning. The department doesn't bother. Compensation is levied, still doesn't bother. There are rights also at so many times, but I'm telling when honest bona fide tax SSC suffers and there is no remedy under Income Tax Act, then go to High Court. It's a costly business and time taking. High Court, there is line, queue, long queue. You get chance of hearing, you are fortunate that day. That is the position. Matter gets time. It's too much of strenuous, but remedy is there. Remedy is there much better than what is there in the Income Tax Act. One more instance of search, Delhi High Court dealt with it. A brother, Mr. X, was searched, and at the premises of Mr. X, locker key of sister was found. Sister was married, and she kept her locker key in brother's house. That was found. And whenever they see locker key, they take it, they seize it. Then they were informed that this is sister's locker. They got authorization against sister because otherwise locker cannot be opened and searched. They got authorization against sister. Sister, there were jewelry of 40-50 lakhs only, which was also explained. But search was done just because the locker key was found on that lady. And that lady wonders that now 6 years are reopened, investigation calls. She says, I had only one locker key at my brother's residence and they took authorization of search against me. What is the reason to believe that locker contains concealed jewelry? And in Delhi High Court, she went, Sahnaz case. Delhi High Court, she went. Delhi High Court asked, reason to believe, it was supplied. Reason saying we got this locker key and maybe there is hidden jewelry. So we took the authorization. What is maybe? High Court said, what is maybe? You can't conduct search in this manner. There is a wide ratification. They quashed the search. There is no reason to believe. They quashed the search. They quashed the search assessment 153A, Sahanaj, Delhi High Court. You people will find it. People go to high courts when the things are grossly wrong. But a little wrong, they don't go. When it's grossly wrong, they go because these are there is a wide ramification. So, any question on search and seizure?
Uh, yes, sir.
Then, yes.
Sir, one question
Yes.
from Adv Nagaji, whether we can go for writ if approving authority under section 151 has given approval without application time.
Ankit, that is 147.
Yes.
Yes, this is a question. I understand. For reopening, an assessing officer at times there is a requirement in law that he will take approval of either joint commissioner or commissioner. And suppose he has taken approval or he has not taken approval, and approval is given without application of mind in routine stereotype manner without no application. If that can be demonstrated, then high courts have held that approving authority has not applied their mind properly, so they set aside this approval. This approval is no approval. First they do it, and this approval, if it's no approval, then what happens? Assessing officer has acted without jurisdiction because he has jurisdiction only if approving authority approves reopening. So he becomes a reopening becomes without approval and without jurisdiction. So court has quashed so many reopening because of absence of approval or approval from wrong authority or approval in absence of without application of mind. Yes.
Right, sir.
But that is with
Sir,
respect to 147.
sir, one
Yes.
more question from Pratik Jainji. My client has received reopening notices. Is it necessary to file a detailed objection at this stage, or we can take up the legal issue after the objections are disposed of directly before the High Court?
Well, people are still thinking on reopening. I am in search. Okay. So let me answer it. Yes. The question is that the Supreme Court has set out a procedure that after receiving reason to believe, SSC will file objection. And assessing officer will dispose the objection. Suppose two objection was to be taken. First, change of opinion in builder's case, change of opinion which will fail. And second, proviso that it is time barred done after 4 years. And SSC takes only one objection, the change of opinion. So that would fail. Now question is whether in High Court we can take the other objection also. That is proviso. This is the question I understand. Is this the question, Sumit?
Yes, yes.
This is the question. Oh my God. This is very technical. Pratik, this is very technical. I give my view. In Bombay High Court, the judges says that you cannot take a new ground in writ court which you have not taken before assessing officer. In NDTV, just case I cited, NDTV case that I cited, Supreme Court said that assessing officer, you have not taken this in reason to believe, you cannot take it in writ court. 16 years time limit. So Bombay High Court definitely I have seen they take objection. If you have not raised all your grounds in objection before AO, they don't entertain your writ jurisdiction. But other high courts are a bit liberal because after all, if there is a lack of jurisdiction by assessing officer because of ground number 2, which is not raised in objection, that cannot be that lack of jurisdiction cannot be given to that officer just because SSC did not highlight at initial stage. Lack of jurisdiction is eternal. If it's not there, it's not there. So first time also in writ jurisdiction, suppose you missed it in original objection, according to me, High Court should entertain those grounds, though Bombay High Court is averse. Okay.
Yes, sir. We
Now
can.
I proceed further. Yes. Arti, anything else? What time are we left with? Sumit, what
Oh, we
time
have
are we
another
left with
20
now?
minutes.
Sir, how much time you
Only
need,
20
sir?
minutes.
Okay, no problem.
I think I need another 40 minutes. Okay, let me try to finish it. How much time I have got, Sumit?
सर देख लीजिए सर जितना बट स्टिल
No, no, you tell me frankly, I'll cut short my time.
20 minutes sir okay sir
20 minutes, ठीक है. Then 20 minutes, then I will take only two small issues and I will close it. Yeah, in Benami law, there is problem. Let me deal. Benami is also economic law with criminal consequences also. Let me deal with Benami law. In 1988, Parliament enacted Benami Act, making Benami property, making the Benami property liable to confiscation, you can say. That government will take away Benami property. In 1988, this act has come. Only 9 sections. But there was one lacuna in that act. Lacuna was that this act provided government the power to make rules to implement this act. Law is there that the property is Benami and liable to acquisition at nil cost. But the authorities are required to administer the law. Those authorities, power was given to government to create by rule. But government did not appoint any authority till 2016, that is 28 years. There was political disinclination, people say. It's the political people and bureaucrats who are most vulnerable, it seems, from this law. Because it is believed that they keep most of their property in others' name, Benami name. So till 2016, there was no agency was not appointed. In 2016, by way of amendment in Benami Act, authorities were appointed to implement the Benami law. 3 authorities are of importance. They were appointed, and this is administered by Income Tax Department only. The 3 authorities are: number 1, initiating authority, initiating officer, who initiates the process by issue so codes and provisionally attach the Benami property. Second authority is adjudicating authority. When initiating officer keeps hands on a property as Benami, then refers to adjudicating authority to declare whether this property is Benami or not. And third authority, over adjudicating authority, is tribunal, who decides whether adjudicating authority is correctly decided property is Benami or not. These are the 3 authorities which were missing in earlier act, finds their place in Benami Amendment 2016. And they started working. And say there is a case of a company which was incorporated in 2008-9. 10 crore rupees of capital was raised. And that was invested in, say, loans or shares. That is 10 crore rupees of capital raising invested in loans and shares. Thereafter, what happens? Say some Loya group acquires this company, and shares of this company with face value 10 crore were purchased by Loya group, say for rupees 50 lakhs only 50 lakhs. And then Loya group becomes the owner of this company. Thereafter, the investment and loan are liquidated and the money is banked, and from that banked money, commercial property is purchased, put on commercial property of 10 crore is purchased and put on lease. This has happened, and things were going smooth, no problem. 2012, everything was over. Thereafter, in 2015, there was a search on a person who is into accommodation entry business. 2015, and he confesses that he is into accommodation business only, and he has subscribed 10 crore rupees of share capital of this company purchased by Loya Group, and they are all bogus. He also accepts that even their investment from these companies are bogus, got liquidated by him only. He accepts it before the income tax department search. Income tax department immediately shares this information with Benami wing of income tax department. And after having shared this, Benami authorities has come into action after 2016. In 2018, Benami initiating officer says issues a so-called notice under section 24 of Benami Act, says that there is a reason to believe that the property owned by company worth 10 crore rupees is Benami. So a so-called is issued to the company to explain why this should not be declared as Benami, and finally the consequences why it should not be confiscated. At the same time, this initiating officer under Benami section 24 provisionally attached the property. It is provisionally attached. You cannot sell it. Company cannot sell it. Safeguard. And when this notice and provisional attachment reaches the directors of this company, Loya Group, they are thoroughly disturbed. Well, this 10 crore rupees of property is going away. It will no more be our property. They say there is various arguments why this should not be declared Benami, but why my property is immediately attached? What is the remedy? The answer is there is no remedy against this action of initiating officer under Benami law. There is no remedy. It's not appealable. Original so-called notice and provisional attachment is not appealable. It's final. Initiating officer is final authority. Only he should have reason to believe that this is a Benami property. He can do it. Very powerful. Parliament has reposed too much of faith on this officer, that he will only attach if you genuinely have reason to believe. Very powerful. Now the Loya group wants to know remedy. Then meets consultants and they say wrong has been done to you. What do they say? Wrong has been done to you. How? Well, but this is 2012 transaction, concluded everything in 2012. That time these authorities were non-existent. They have come in existence in 2016. The appointment is prospective. They can attach, issue so-called, but only Benami transactions are pertains to period after 2016. How can they do it with you? The Loya group is impressed by this argument. Well, they have no jurisdiction to act against me. And second argument, consultant gives, say the doctrine of waiver would be applicable in you. Well, how? Well, to 1988, they brought the law. 28 years they did not appoint any authority. And in year 2011, a bill was moved to repeal this law, was opposed by opposition, so was kept. Doctrine of waiver, government was not interested. So citizens took a view that Benami is non-existent. So they acted, even if they acted. These are the two reasons you should enjoy the doctrine of waiver, and these authorities has no jurisdiction over transaction before 2016. And only remedies, writ jurisdiction, and lots of writs are filed throughout country. And Rajasthan High Court and Calcutta High Court has decided in favor of the property owner. They said these people have no authority. Then the government worries that future mein who will do Benami? It's past which is burdened with Benami properties. And past itself, then this law would be useless. They rush to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court state Calcutta High Court order. They will decide. Supreme Court would decide. But for the time being, this issue of jurisdiction is raised in High Court and is in favor of property owners for the time being, and Supreme Court will take a final call. So this is what writ jurisdiction does in every economic law, not unnecessary income tax. Wherever you feel your fundamental rights or legal rights are violated, somebody is acting against jurisdiction, you will approach the High Court. Now, because of paucity of time, last item I will touch, then I will close. Somebody asked me writ of 5 kinds. There is a writ of mandamus also in that article 226. Look, writ of certiorari is a destructive order. It destroys the action of departmental officer. It destroys reopening. It destroys search. It destroys 24(1) so-called notice and provisional attachment under Benami. It destroys it. They are destructive orders by High Court. Yes, by destroying the illegal action of authority, the beneficiary is SSC. But there is a constructive power also with the High Court. That is writ of mandamus. You see what happens in tribunal. NSSC got the relief, huge relief. 25 crore refunds are expected. Department officer does not give appeal effect. Year has passed, 3 months time is given, but year is passed, nobody is listening. 143, when a refund should come, big refund, he withheld. Then in this is the complaints of SSC, that when you have to recover, you attach bank account, but when you have to refund, you delay. अभी budget नहीं है, अगले साल. So in this situation, I have seen in Delhi High Court, writ after writs are filed in income tax, GST, saying my refund is due, why they are withholding it, and seek writ of mandamus. Writ of mandamus means if a public authority is supposed to do some duty and they are failing to do their duty, citizen can approach the High Court asking High Court to order those public authority to do their duty. That is writ of mandamus. It's a constructive, positive. I have seen in Delhi High Court, not much in Bombay High Court, but in Delhi High Court I have seen that writ after writs are filed for processing of refund, for appeal effect, for in GST also. And High Court entertains those writ and issue writ of mandamus because they ask why have you withheld the refund? They have no answer. There is no valid reason for holding the refund. They have no answer. Then the High Court say, how many days will you take to process it? They say 4 weeks. And in 4 weeks, they have to do it. Otherwise, it's a contempt of court. Order is passed. This is a writ of mandamus. For example, for revision proceeding, your assessment is completed, you have not gone in appeal, and you come to know of Supreme Court judgment according to which you have overtaxed yourself. You have overpaid the tax. You are entitled to some exemption which you came to know because of Supreme Court judgment, and your appeal is gone. You go to revision under section 264 with Commissioner. Baba, follow Supreme Court, condone the delay, give me the refund. Commissioner does not accept, rejects. You can go to High Court and seek writ of mandamus that ask Commissioner to follow Supreme Court order and condone the delay, and High Court would entertain. There is an order when people go to Settlement Commission and it is not appealable, but Settlement Commission has passed an order which is not in accordance with law. It's a final authority under the Act, but writ would lie if they are not following the law. This is writ of mandamus. So first, any officer failing in duty, you can approach Honorable High Court and seek writ of mandamus. Writ of habeas corpus is not applicable in income tax law. It is applicable in other laws, criminal laws especially. When a person is arrested, detained illegally, he approaches High Court seeking writ of habeas corpus to produce the person before the court. That is not applicable to income tax, may be applicable in custom or GST where arrests are made and one can go for writ of habeas corpus, but mostly used in criminal law. And last, this writ of quo warranto. If an officer is assistant commissioner, but he is using power of commissioner, he is not empowered to act as commissioner, but he is using his power of commissioner. Some power are given to commissioner only, but assistant commissioner is using that power. Then you can go to writ on jurisdiction and quo warranto also. You are not the authority. Who are you? Quo warranto, who are you? You are not that person. You cannot do it. These writs remedies are there because the officers, the authority, many times transgress their authority, does beyond law, act beyond law. So who will check them? Interdepartmental checks are inadequate. Checks are coming from High Court and Supreme Court. They are independent judicial authority. They are not under anyone. So Constitution of India has entrusted with them this responsibility, that citizens would be suffering from the excesses of officers, authorities, parliament. You be there as a constitutional authority to safeguard the interest and rights of citizens. Don't fail them. Supreme Court recently, in the Arnav Goswami case, when Bombay High Court refused to exercise writ jurisdiction, said that you are failing in your constitutional duty. If a citizen is approaching you for some wrongs done to it, wrong or not, that's a different thing. You have to exercise your power. That is your constitutional responsibility. The constitutional maker has given High Court and Supreme Court this ultimate responsibility as a custodian of people's right. Don't fail them. With that, I close this lecture.
Thank you, sir. Arti ji, Smriti, if you have any questions, and Bhatta also there.
Yes, sir. As you have already explained, that we can challenge the actions of the.
Arti, we are short of time actually. So 20 minutes are over. So I think, Sumit ji, I think time is over. The time that you have given. Should we continue with the question or?
No problem, sir. We can take questions. No problem.
Yeah, Arti, I'm a bit tired also. You can speak now. Yeah, please. Yeah. One or two. That's all.
Only thing I just want that if you can also explain in very briefly whether we can challenge sometimes provisions itself also, the act also, because we are all sometimes aggrieved because of the law itself, not always with the actions of the department. So in brief, you can just explain it.
I understand this question. Aarti has raised an important question. She wants to know that you have elaborately discussed wrongs done by the officers of department. What if parliament wrongs you? For example, Supreme Court has decided in favor of you and parliament retrospectively makes an amendment undoing the Supreme Court judgment. For example,
I think net disconnected by.
am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
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 sir.
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 Now,
Yeah, the question is whether if parliament, which is the highest legislative body and highest representative of people body, if they wrong the people, whether writ petition under Article 226 would lie challenging the act of parliament itself. That is the question, important question. If you see Article 226, it says any government does any wrong, violation of fundamental right or legal rights. Any government will include parliament also. Government has three limbs: legislature, executive, and judiciary. So parliament is also government. And if they enact a law which is violative of fundamental rights of the citizen, even income tax, and parliament enacts the law which violates legal rights of the citizen, then in Article 226, I can approach High Court. Latest I was thinking, after demonetization, under Section 68, if income is assessed, it's a deeming section, deemed to be income of the SSC if there is no satisfactory income. 68, 69, A, B, C, D, they have prescribed a tax rate of 75%, 60% or 100%, 75%. Whereas others are getting charged at 30%. This is discrimination. Article 14, which says right to equality. Because 68 is a deeming provision. Department is not very sure whether this is actually income or not. Because SSC failed to explain properly. So this is taxed. And you are taxing deeming income at 75, it's discriminatory. If somebody is aggrieved by this, he can challenge this under Article 226, this section itself. Because after this enactment, assessing officers are concentrating more on 68, 69 ABCD than ever before. I came across a case, even Sunday creditor of 7 crore, one case. 68 was invoked just because 75% tax. Even sales which are offered to tax, 68 is been looked after. Because this is high tax section, it will bring harassment and it is inequality. So my point is that even parliament is not spared. But my other point is that High Court and Supreme Court are averse to strike down tax law. You go to Great Court, but they would entertain against executive action. But against parliamentary action, they are not very willing to entertain this petition. That is practical. So I did not bother much on this aspect. Last
Arti,
question. Yes, yeah, Sumit ji.
but sir, any other point you want to
सर
ask?
मैं चूंकि नरेश सर थोड़े से थके हुए हैं तो ज्यादा तो मैं उनसे परिश्रम नहीं दूंगा
एक क्वेश्चन ले सकता हूँ बट साहब एक क्वेश्चन ले सकता हूँ थक गया
बस
ना
थोड़ा
बोलने
सा
से
मैं
थक
चाह रहा
गया
था कि हाँ 1 या 2 मिनट मेंटेनेबिलिटी ऑफ रिट के बारे में थोड़ा सा प्रकाश डाल दें क्योंकि हमें थोड़े दिमाग में कंफ्यूजन रहते हैं कि वेदर द क्वेश्चन व्हिच इज गोइंग टू बी रेज्ड बिफोर एन ऑनरेबल हाई कोर्ट इज मेंटेनेबल और नॉट अंडर आर्टिकल 226 बस थोड़ा सा प्रकाश
yes, yes. yeah maintainability कि बाबा you went to rate and high court is not there waiting for you with open hands कि जो आए आ जाओ ऐसा नहीं है they are doing screening first of all first maintainability problem is if you have alternate remedy in the act itself, income tax act. For example, after assessment order, there is appeal remedy in the act itself. After assessment order, you feel, Baba, my assessing officer has made an addition contrary to Supreme Court judgment. I will go to writ. If you go to writ, then High Court will not maintain your writ. They will say your legal right might have been violated, but you have remedy in Income Tax Act itself by way of appeal to Commissioner Appeal. What they are going to do if we entertain all your appeal? This is self-imposed restriction by High Courts. So wherever there is no remedy under Income Tax Act or any economic act by way of appeal, and if you demonstrate your legal rights or constitutional rights are violated, I'll tell you High Court will maintain your appeal. But if you have alternate remedy in act itself, like assessment order, CIT appeal order, you have tribunal, then very difficult to get the writ maintained. Only they will maintain if some fundamental rights are violated, then they will maintain. Or there is a apparent jurisdiction problem, then they will entertain. In nutshell, I can say, if there is appeal remedy, don't go to High Court. They will not entertain you. If there is no appeal remedy, you have to demonstrate your legal rights or constitutional rights are violated. They will maintain it.
Thanks.
Sum and substance.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Wonderful presentation on this technical topic. Thank you very much for your session, and thank you, Batsa, for joining as a panelist and asking so very relevant question at the last in the last. And thank you to Arti ji and Smriti Sahay ji for coordinating the event and inviting the sir, Advocate Naresh Jain ji. Thank you very much, Naresh sir, for giving your
Thank
precious
you.
time on this platform. Thank you, Pooja ji, for coordinating. Thanks to
Thank
thanks to
you.
all
Thank
viewers
you,
for
everyone.
joining and
Thank you.
participating in this webinar. Thank you, sir.
It was good experience being with you all. Good
Thank you,
experience.
sir.
Thank you.
We will definitely uh, invite you again, sir.
Yes, I would love to come again. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.